What am I to do?
Welcome to RazorBranding Podcast with Jackie Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandrusso.com.
Hi, welcome to RazorBranding Podcast. I feel like we haven't seen each other in so long. You know, between Christmas holidays and then Mardi Gras, I've been traveling. The world is reopening. It is quite the post-COVID universe, I think, for all business, and everybody's making up for lost time. So thanks for joining us. We're glad to be back, and I am excited today to welcome Leigha Porter as our guest. Leigha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, thank you for being here. I do have to remind you that it is live, so you have to save all the bad words and any tea you want to spill. We cannot do that. I like to keep it clean, Leigha. Clean show.
Of course.
No, I am kidding. I'm the one that I have to be warned about dropping bad words. That's me. So I have my handy dandy stack of cards. I feel like Jimmy Fallon, and I get to ask all the good questions. So let's start with some easy ones, some background. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came from, how you got to where you are. Just give us the update on Leigha Porter and who she is.
Yeah, so I am from Lafayette, Louisiana, born and raised here. I grew up on the north side of town, North Lafayette. I'm a proud graduate of Northside High School, alum of Northside High School, go Vikings. And then I went on, I did a little dabbling in college. I actually started at Howard University as a dance major there, and then trickled down back to Dillard University in New Orleans and was there for 2 years until Hurricane Katrina came and washed me back home, unfortunately. And I finished my studies at UL. And throughout that entire time, from my time at Northside, even before then, I was always immersed in the arts. I was a dancer, and I took dancing at Grace Hamilton Academy of the Arts, which is another local dance studio here in Lafayette. And throughout those years, I just grew a love and passion for the art of dance, which I even more gravitated towards all types of art. And in 2013, I opened up F.I.R.E Expressions Performing Arts Conservatory, which is a training facility for girls and boys ages 3 to 21. And we train them in classical and contemporary styles of dance. And then throughout the years, just collaborating with different artists, I just really had a passion for arts and for engaging community in the arts. And that inspired me to open up my new venture, which is Park Village, which is a community arts center. So I am an arts advocate. I'm all for the arts, not just for kids, but just I know that what the arts has the power to do. And whenever communities are engulfed and immersed in the arts, it's when we can really truly see them propel to positive heights.
That is fantastic. And such a nice, clear, concise overview. Thank you. So I have many questions, and I'll start with the least important one. So you said North Side a couple times. I think of it as North Side, but there's been a big push for Upper Lafayette. What's your thought on changing how we characterize the geographic area that is on the northern end of town?
I don't too much care for, I don't think we should put that much emphasis on the name. I think we should put more emphasis on uplifting a community. Regardless of whether it's North Lafayette, if it's Upper Lafayette, does that change the outcome or what's going on in the community? No, it does not. So I'm not really into what it's called. For me, it's going to always be called North Lafayette. I know that over time, over the course of years, there has been a negative cloud that has hung over North Lafayette, or whenever you speak or talk about it. But my real push is to see real change within my community. So no matter what it's called, we're still going to have the same issues and the same problems within our communities if we don't have, a continued push to see thriving opportunities here in our community.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. I'm actually going to meet after this with my buddy Alex Lazard, and I think y'all have very aligned philosophies when it comes to that. You can call it whatever you want to call it, as long as you invest in it and give back to it
Right.
and make it better. 100%. 100%. So with Park Village, talk to us about this new venture. What's your vision for it? Is it just arts from a movement sake? Is it fine arts, commercial arts? Are you going to kind of participate in Second Saturday Art Walk? I mean, tell me the plan.
So Park Village is a very intentional space, very intentional in the sense of wanting to put arts and culture at the center of the North Side community, which of course is a historically African American Black neighborhood. And not just movement. Park Village is a space for creativity. Art is at the forefront of that. But I tell people all the time, especially people in Lafayette, because this is not just for individuals in the Northside community. This is for all people within the reach of our Lafayette, the city of Lafayette. But we want to be able to continue to cultivate a community in a city that thrives in art and creativity. Everybody does not consider themselves an artist, but I do feel like everybody is a creator. No matter what you're doing in life, you're creating something, right? You all created this podcast opportunity, this platform to be able to speak and talk with people. That's creativity, that's creating. And there's so many aspects that goes into creating it, right? So we want to be able to highlight, to expose, and for people to be able to express their creative selves, whether that be through art or not. Here at Park Village, we have so many different moving parts. We do have 2 movement studios where we do, you can do dance classes, fitness classes. We have an art gallery and an exhibit room where visual artists, photographers, or other creatives can come and showcase their work. We have a podcast studio where individuals who are interested in starting their own podcast or have a podcast already, they can come and record. Or if you want to record a audiobook or you want to do voiceover work, that could be done in our podcast studio as well. And then of course we have a music room where music lessons can happen. We have small to medium-sized piece bands that are rehearsing in our space. And we also have a conference in a meeting room. So we have so many moving parts where people can come and be a part of, to kind of elevate their creativity or their art. But then we also have monthly programming where we host poetry nights. We host First Friday community dance classes every first Friday of the month, where people in the community can come and immerse themselves in different cultural dances. And this month, we're celebrating Women's History Month. We have a Women in the Arts talk series that we're doing. This Saturday, we have 2 events. We have a sound bowl meditation. It's all about health and wellness class that we're doing. And then we have a roundtable talk about, things that are important to women: life, family, career, mental health, self-help. So this is really just a very unique and gumbo of, opportunities here for the community and for Lafayette to take part in. Whether you're an artist, creative, entrepreneur, or you are a member of the community, you can come and immerse yourself in this environment in some type of way.
Okay, that is awesome. And I love that you were so complete in your answer. Now I have multiple questions. First of all, what you just said, that not everybody is an artist, but everybody is creative, is literally
Yes.
Michael Russo's theme song. He tells people that all the time. So I love how aligned you are and how you see the world, because it's true. Everybody's got something in them. Even if you're creating a spreadsheet or creating
Right.
a way to analyze data, you're still creating something. So I credit to you on that one, 100%. So the lineup of programming at Park Village is impressive. Are you managing all of this yourself?
At the current moment, I am managing most of our programming, and I'm very excited to have different outsiders, entrepreneurs, and creatives that are now coming in to want to collaborate and host events themselves. Like our women's roundtable talk, Journey Through Spaces, that's going to happen this Saturday at 6:30 here. Is not something that it's being put on by me. It's being put on by another community member. And so that's another thing that I love so much about Park Village is that collaborative work. Different artists get to come together and collaborate. So I am managing most of the programming, but I invite people from the community to come out and any ideas that you have that you want to host, that you want to, I mean, I am open to just about any and everything as long as it's appropriate to be able to be hosted here at Park Village. So I welcome and open community members, artists, and creatives to come and let's collaborate.
That's awesome. How do people get on the newsletter or the calendar for Park Village? Like, how do they know what's coming up? Because you've got a lot of programming lined up. How do they get in the loop?
Yes. So if you go to parkvillagela.com, you can join our newsletter there. We send out monthly and weekly newsletters about what's going on here at Park Village. Gives you an opportunity to be first to register for events and things of that nature. And then also parkvillage.com is the best place if you're interested in any of our services that we have here, renting any space, utilizing any space here. You can get all of that, everything at parkvillagela.com.
That's awesome. And I appreciate you giving the website a couple times, and it's also on the screen because sometimes people are watching it and then sometimes they're just listening to the audio only version. So it helps that you've gotten it both ways. I'm so impressed. You know, when I look at what you've done, what Claire Cook has done with Basin Arts, I think it's very similar. I don't know if y'all know each other, but I feel
Yes.
like there's a lot of people who have left and come back and are finding ways to give back to the community. So I applaud you, all of
Thank
you
you.
who have done that. I think it's awesome. So what was the catalyst for Park Village? Is this something you've always had in your heart? Was it a new development? Where did it come from?
I think over time, during my travel as a movement artist and as a dancer, just immersing and being a part of other communities that are really have thriving arts organizations and communities. I wanted to see that for my community. And I do have a passion for building art, for using art as a development tool, as a cultural identity tool within my community for African Americans. I do feel like the arts can truly propel any community forward. So very intentional about that. And throughout the years, I always had the idea of trying to create something that was very accessible and obtainable, as I mentioned, directly in a community. Because oftentimes we see in multiple cities around the country, most of your artistic endeavors are in your downtown areas, or it may be places that are just a little bit of an extension of downtown areas. You don't always get cultural art centers or any artistic platforms in the heart of communities. So that was another very intentional move to make it very accessible to individuals, so that way they can know we are here and that we can utilize them. So it was something that over time has developed, and I felt like now was the right time to do
Right.
so, especially in a moment like COVID, where we do have to lean on the arts, right? I don't think a lot of people really realize that music, dance, movies, all of these artistic expressions is what really kept us sane through COVID, through those months of being inside of the house. You know, we had DJs doing sets. We had, dancers and Broadway stars that were doing different things to keep people in a better spirit. That is all part of artistry, art, creativity that was keeping us well mentally and emotionally. So I felt like this was the right time to be able to start a project like this.
No, I think your timing is perfect, and I think that it's a great service that you're providing to not just one community, but the whole community. So I think that's awesome. I know that Bottle Arts Lofts is opening right down the street from my house, and they have obviously a huge tie-in to the artist community. Are you seeing kind of this new wave here in Acadiana? Well, let's go kind of big with it of people, expanding the arts. Do you think that's coming from COVID? Is that just people coming home? Is it just because we didn't have enough and we need more? I mean, where do you think the catalyst is coming from?
I think it's a combination of all. I think COVID has really had its negative, but a lot of positive as well. And it's propelled the importance of things that were kind of taken away from us during that COVID time. It's allowed us to kind of sit on that and really understand what is important for us. So we have a lot of these ideas that people were sitting, if you had an idea that you were sitting down on, now you believe that this is the time to go forward with it. So I think COVID has really given us that positive aspect as saying, these are things that are important. And then within that, I think because there's still so many needs within our Acadiana area, people are wanting to meet those needs. And I know for me, I love to see it. Acadiana, the Lafayette area, has always had a thriving, very cultural, artistic aspect to it. Always. We are very unique to our culture. We have, Creole Zydeco. We have Kate. We have so like a gumbo of just cultural artistic expressions. But to see that now expanding past, smaller entities, I think is a really good thing.
I could not agree more. 100% agree. Our three daughters took dance for years and years and years at a dance school here in town. And so we ran the gamut, from doing the recitals every year and the tryouts for company and all of that. I know that your dance school and studio is different from Park Village. So let's talk about the studio for a minute. Is that how yours is set up? Do you do different things than that? Or is it kind of the traditional dance school?
So I like to say we're traditional yet non-traditional. We do take more of the conservatory approach, and that means that a lot of our focus is on like the development of the dancer, but we take it even further. Our motto really is youth development and arts education. I've had the honor of having amazing mentors growing up. Walter Hall and Grace Hamilton were two of my mentors as a young emerging artist here in Lafayette. And Walter was always the king of youth development. He really strategically designed a lot of his programming here in Lafayette. When he was here, he's now in Houston, Texas, but really on developing the young minds of individuals here and kind of use dance and art as a tool to aid that. Whereas at Hamilton Academy, we also had that youth development aspect, but really that strong artistic aspect, right? I learned a lot about dance. We did a lot of traveling around the country to learn about all of these different dance companies and organizations. And so whenever I thought about putting FE together, it was like, how can I take both of these aspects that are really, really important and put them together? And so that's kind of how FBFire Expressions Performing Arts Conservatory, FE Conservatory for short, was kind of born with this idea of having a very strong youth development and mentoring aspect combined with this very strong artistic and artist development and education. And that started 9 years ago. That was actually my first baby, my first project. And, a lot of people are always like, this probably was always your dream. It actually was not. I can be very honest and candid. As a young person, I did not want to own a dance studio or a conservatory of any sort. I wanted to be like every other freelance artist and be out there trying my luck on every audition. And I was for many years, straight out of high school, I was auditioning and doing a lot of different things. But it took my mentor, Grace Hamilton, an opportunity to sit me down and say, though you are a very talented dancer, I really do feel like your divine purpose may be bigger than that. And she really helped me to focus on my strengths, which were choreography and teaching, because I started teaching at age 13, and I have not stopped since. And so I really, at the young age of 23, after that conversation with her, I had two options. I could have been a very young mind and let it go through one ear out the other and continue to do what I felt like was right for my life. Or I had an opportunity to listen to the words of somebody that I know is very invested in me and my growth. And that's what I did. And a few years later, FE Conservatory came, which at the time I still didn't want to do it. But the moment that I started it, it felt right. And I think whenever you have those moments in your spirit and just in your body where you feel the pieces to the puzzle connect, that was definitely a moment. It has been one of the most fulfilling things that I've done in my life thus far. And we're continuing to grow every year here at the Conservatory. I have an amazing staff. I have to give a huge shout out to my staff, Jasmine, Christy, Brittany, Erica, and Amara, because they are really, really have been there over the years to help propel FE to what it is today. So yeah, it's been
That's
great.
awesome.
It's been a great ride.
I hear you talk about, your first passion was performing yourself. Was the lifelong goal to be a Broadway dancer? I mean, what did you ultimately have as the career choice before the school?
I think for me, and people always laugh at this, I'm really a dance worshiper. I'm obsessed with anything and everything dance, and I always have been since a younger person. So I did concert dance. I immersed myself in entertainment, even Broadway. I'm like anything with art, dance, music. I'm it. So when I was younger, I was auditioning for everything. I was auditioning for world tours. I drove to Houston, Texas with my friend Corey, and we auditioned for Beyonce's world tour. And we were lucky to be like the last 40, but we just didn't get picked for the tour. But we were the last top 40 for that audition, but we didn't get picked. I auditioned for dance companies. One of my top dreams was to dance for Philadelphia, which is the Philadelphia dance company in Philadelphia under Joan Myers Brown. That was like a huge goal of mine. Never got a chance to audition for the company, but I thought about that. I thought about doing Broadway. As long as I was dancing, that's all I wanted. And because, I was very well versed in everything, that gave me an opportunity to kind of say and pick and choose, well, if I get this, I can do this. If I don't get this, but I do that, I can still be successful in this.
Right.
So I wanted to do it all.
That's awesome. I feel like the theme for this podcast needs to be accidental entrepreneurs. Because
yes.
it wasn't your initial intention. It wasn't my initial intention. Most of the guests, it's sort of like you just follow the river wherever it leads you, and you fall on the bank at owning a company. Like, okay. So I love that. And I think it is about finding your purpose and your passion as you go, and what you think is your purpose because of what you're passionate about at 18 isn't necessarily going to be the same thing at 28, 38, 48. And so to be able to adjust with that, I think is important. So kudos to you for taking the opportunities that come your way and creating new opportunities out of them. I think that's awesome. No, absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the company. We've talked about your early years. We've talked about your insight. We're now going to talk about the speed round, your big questions. This is the good stuff. This is like my version of the Actor Studio grand finale. So,
wow.
Oh, this is tough, Leigha. This is tough. You got to dig deep.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite place on Earth?
Oh, my favorite place on Earth.
See, I would have thought you said on stage. So I have your whole different answer coming. I'm excited.
So I probably would have to say it's twofold. Number one, the first thing that came to mind was my bed.
Like all entrepreneurs who need rest.
Because I love anytime I can get a nap, which is few and far. But if I had to say my favorite place on Earth would probably be anywhere surrounded by water.
Okay.
Water really is very calming to my spirit. I feel at peace when I'm near water. I did a 14-day yoga certification in Costa Rica, remote, detached from the entire world, no internet, no TV, no contact with any type of civilization at all. And we were surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, and it was the most amazing, probably number one up till today, number one experience in my life.
Oh, amazing.
And I just feel anytime I can feel when I'm near water, even though I don't see it, I
Right.
could feel it. So that would be my favorite place in the world, anywhere next to a body of water.
That's a great answer. And your bed. So if your bed is next to a body of water, you're done. You're in.
I mean, that's perfect.
Beachside cabana. You're talking about going to Costa Rica. Could you imagine if you had been on that 2 week removal from society and you had left Lafayette like maybe March 12th and you come back 2 weeks later to 2020, right? And the whole world has changed. You'd
And
be
the
like, are
whole
y'all
world has
crazy me?
changed.
What is going on here? Y'all are kidding me right now.
That
Yeah.
is too funny.
I mean, imagine that. That's crazy.
I know.
Okay. Favorite movie that you just can't turn off when it comes on?
My favorite movie that I can't turn off when it comes on, it could be any movie ever.
Any movie ever?
My favorite movie of all time would probably be a combination between Coming to America and The Chorus Line. I feel like I cannot choose between those two. And
So do we
both, of
need Eddie
course, for
Murphy to
separate
remake
reasons.
Chorus Line? I mean, would
I
that
feel
be the
like
perfect
Eddie
world?
Murphy needs to remake A Chorus Line, and that would be perfect.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm
I
here
love A
for it.
Chorus Line. It's my favorite musical, and I love Coming to America. It's my favorite movie.
Well, some of the best songs from a soundtrack have come from a Chorus Line for sure. So, I mean, One Singular Sensation, come on. Once you hear that in your head, you can't get it out. That's awesome. What is your favorite TV show to binge?
My favorite TV show to binge. Right now, I'm loving Abbott Elementary,
Oh, no joke.
which is the best.
That whole
I was a
team is
yes,
awesome. I
yes,
laugh out loud during that show.
yes. So I'm really, and I was a school teacher. I worked in the public and private education system for 12 years, which a lot of people didn't know that as well. I'm no longer teaching full time, but that show, I'm just like so connected to that in so many ways, and it's so
Okay.
funny.
Don't name the
It's
school where
amazing.
you taught, but tell me if your principal was like that principal on Abbott.
So my principal was not none of my
Okay.
principals, because I taught at a few schools, but I wish
All right.
they would have been, because it would have been hilarious.
Oh my God.
But it would have been hilarious. But that is like my favorite TV show
Okay.
right
That's a good
now. I
answer.
love
That's a
that.
good answer.
Yeah.
Favorite book?
My favorite book. Ooh, and I do a lot of reading. Um, oh gosh, this is
It's
a
a tough
hard
one. I told
one.
you this was going to be hard, but good. But
Yeah.
you're good.
Let me go based off the books that I've read recently,
Okay.
because I read a lot. I recently read Nelson Mandela's autobiography, which
Ooh.
was absolutely amazing and great. I love reading books on leadership, but I like reading books about leaders in their life. And his book was really good. And then another book that I recently read was The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by
Okay.
Miss Honoré Jefferson. It's an 800-page book, very thick, but the writing was incredible and impeccable, and just the detail to history and the storyline. It was an absolute, like, probably one of my favorite books to date. So I would have to say those two. I feel like I keep giving dual answers. I
But
can
that's
never just
okay.
pick one.
No, that is totally okay. Here's the beauty of this whole thing. It's your show. So you get to answer however you want. You could have said 7 books and it would have been allowed by the judges. You're totally fine. Favorite podcast to listen to on long drives?
Favorite podcast to listen to on long drives. So there is a podcast and a YouTube show called Earn Your Leisure.
Okay.
That is very big and very popular right now, and it's all about giving people the opportunities and the tools for financial literacy. And so they interview a lot of different guests, from entrepreneurs to investors, and just really getting people on board with how they can propel themselves, for a better financial life. And so I really love their podcasts and their YouTube videos. Very informational, and they're growing so much and getting so big that they have just a great and amazing guests that come on and that are interviewed on their podcast. So Earn
And
Your
you said it's
Leisure is really
Earn Your
good.
Leisure. Okay, I just wrote that down
Yes.
because that's fascinating. I'm going to listen to that on my
Yes.
next trip. Okay, so while we're on the subject of long car rides, what's your favorite car that you own
My
or you want to own one day or that you just think is badass?
So my favorite car would probably be my car now. I drive a Buick Cascada,
Ooh,
and it is a convertible. So I have this funny story. I always was fascinated by convertibles since I was young, since I
sure.
was a young girl. And when I graduated from high school, my mom and my dad wanted to buy me my first convertible, but because I was going to Howard University, which is in Washington, D.C., they didn't feel the need to buy me my convertible car. And every car that I had after that was passed down from my mother and my father. And this is my first car that's a convertible. And so every time when I first bought it, my mom and dad would always be like, "You finally got your convertible." Because I always was just fascinated by them, like the top going down
Mhm.
as I was younger. But now when somebody says, "Why you don't wear the, put the top down?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that thing is there." Like
Right.
I forget it. I waited all my whole life to have a convertible, and now I don't even put the top down because I forget that it's there.
But it's like being near water. You don't need to see it, you just feel the presence. So
Right.
you know it's a convertible, you don't have to have the top down, you just know it. I had a convertible for years. I totally understand. I'm right there with you. My very first car was a Volkswagen Thing, which is a
Oh wow.
square convertible. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Your favorite festival?
My favorite festival would probably be the Essence Festival in New
Okay.
Orleans that takes place every year. I love going to the convention center because they have all of these different vendors and all of these different, they have food, they have, artist curations, they have free hair products. They have all of these different. It's just a really good festival that it really highlights and celebrates music and fashion and beauty. And me and my family, we try to go every year. We don't always make it to the concerts, but we definitely make it to the convention center, which is like the best part. So that's my
Right.
favorite festival.
That's so funny because other people have said Essence Festival and they talk all about the music. So I love the balance of it. You're like, nope, convention center all the way. Good.
Yes.
What is your pettiest pet peeve?
Oh. Hmm. My pet peeve. Oh God, this is a hard one.
I know, I know.
Uh, what is a pet peeve of mine?
Something in traffic, something the way people chew, people who leave the cabinet doors
Um,
open. I mean, I'm just giving you my list.
I am my students know this. I'm very judgmental on ashy feet. My dancers come in when we have dance class where you don't wear shoes like modern or
Right?
African. And we'll have a bottle of lotion. I'm like, come on, we have to lotion those feet. We have
I
to
love
be
it. I love
right.
it.
So I would probably say ashy feet. I know that's really weird, but
No, I think that's
yeah.
perfectly I don't like feet, and you work with feet all day, so I totally get that. I think that makes perfect sense. It's funny, I like to be barefoot, but I don't like other people's feet. Um, Favorite musician?
Favorite musician. Hmm.
It could be to listen to dance to.
So to listen to, I love Maxwell. He's
Okay.
probably one of my favorite musicians to listen to. To choreograph to, I like Max Richter. He's a composer. He's really good. Um, yeah, those would probably be my favorite too.
Great answers. So karaoke night, you're getting up on stage. What are you singing?
Oh, I'm singing probably um Beyonce Single Ladies.
Oh, that's always a good one.
I
Everybody's
know
got
the
the
wo
hand gesture.
I know the words and I know the dance, right? And it's
Exactly.
good crowd participation, easy crowd participation. So
Absolutely. And even
that's a
people
good
who
one.
can't dance like me can still manage a little hand wave. I love it. Favorite sport?
My favorite sport would be mm. So I do think that dance is a sport. It's very athletic.
Okay.
That would probably be my top. Um, but other than that, probably would be swimming. Not
Okay.
football. I'm not basketball. Basketball gives me very high anxiety. I would probably have to say swimming.
All right.
Yeah, probably swimming.
Okay. I like it. Your
Attached to
favorite,
water, of course.
of course. I was like, it's absolutely the water thing. What's your favorite meal or
Oh,
food?
crawfish etouffee is my
Mm-hmm.
favorite meal. That is the only thing. Actually, my mom made crawfish etouffee last week, and I had her laughing because I told her that's probably the only meal that I can wake up and eat at any time of the day. Like I can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and eat a bowl of crawfish etouffee.
Yeah.
Nothing else but crawfish etouffee. That is my absolute favorite.
Yeah. That's how our youngest feels about Michael's crawfish etouffee. He will eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner if we let her. She loves it. What is your favorite leisure activity?
My favorite leisure activity is reading. I
That's a good
love to
answer.
read. If I'm not working, I'm reading. I prioritize it. I read in the morning, I read at night, and then anytime that I get throughout the day, any moment, I read. So that would be my favorite.
Awesome. We're almost done with the questions, but I would be remiss if not acknowledging we have a little hey from Shamar Allen. Just saying hey on the Facebook.
Hi, Jamar.
Okay, favorite way that you treat yourself?
Favorite way that I treat myself is so I do eat very healthy. Probably 90%, 95% of the time. So having like a nice good meal from like a favorite restaurant. I love pasta. I try not to indulge too much, but I absolutely love pasta. So I think pasta, a good movie, and again, my bed, a nap. I can get that. I'll take it.
All excellent answers. Okay, so what question did you want me to ask that I did not? And what would the answer be?
Ooh.
What did I miss?
Probably the only question is how can you get in contact with me? And I
Yes,
would
let's ask that.
say you can head over to I have a personal website, leahatporter.com. It has all the exciting things that are coming up. So if you want to reach out to me personally, then of course, Park Village is parkvillagela.com. And then if you have a young person interested in training, fedance.com.
Awesome. And we're getting each one of those up on the screen so people can see it and hear it. Leigha, I cannot thank you enough for your time today. You were awesome.
Thank you.
To
This is a
everybody
great,
watching
fun
and
interview.
listening. Well, we've tried to make it easy. So thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your insight and your experiences. And hopefully everybody learned as much as I did. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, the day is through.